We're back, and we're going to talk about the many sides of Jane. So, my hair's kind of funky, so I'm kind of distracted looking at it right now. There was two things I was going to talk about. This morning, we went to the new psychiatrist, the one that was recommended at the P4 conference, and we had some triggering things that came up, and yeah, that was in the previous video. That was really choppy and all over the place. But right now we wanted to talk about the many sides of Jane. And even though in our last video we said we want to do a recap after processing our feelings about the day, that's not where we're at right now. We don't really want to talk about that right now, or maybe we do, but we'll talk about it naturally instead of forcing it out. So what we'll do right now is we'll talk about the many sides of Jane. That's a docuseries, documentary episodes about a woman with d.i.d, and she shares some of her most intimate trauma and daily struggles and her therapy sessions and her relationships, and wow, I commend her for her bravery and her ability to be able to put it into words and not shy away or even over dramatize it either. Like, she doesn't put it on display as a show sort of thing, like some people do. So we were really appreciating watching so far. So let me get back to what I was going to say. I was going to say something else. If we happen to talk about anything about the day, then we will. But yes, Many Sides of Jane is a docuseries that somebody mentioned in a Facebook group recently. And it's been out for a while, maybe over a year, maybe almost 2 years. I don't know how long it's been out. But somebody mentioned it in the group recently, asking how you can watch it. Like, they want to know what platforms you can watch it on. So I went searching for it and found it on Amazon Prime. And bummer, it's not free. I paid money over I think it was $14 to watch all of the episodes. It's just one season, but all of the episodes. Because I paid for the first episode, and I absolutely loved it. It hit so many things about me, like I personally related to, that I just was like jaw dropping, tears wiping, and like I've watched so many YouTube videos about d.i.d, and they're great. There's a lot of great ones, right? Most of them educational, none so much about experiences, like watching experiences, like genuine experiences. I really love the effects that they did with the camera. They basically would, in between alters, when there would be a switch, the camera kind of does this little joggy, shaky thing. So as an audience member, you're totally relating to what she's going through, especially if you have d.i.d. Whereas my home video camera filming me during a switch, you wouldn't know I'm switching unless I'm overtly different, right? Or if I put the little rainbow above my head or something, and now I'm all of a sudden different. Or if I put a little character next to my face or something. And I'm sure she had something to do with telling the producers or the editors, that's when Alexis came out, or that's when Jane came back or something. we started watching on Wednesday the 23rd. We only watched one episode. It's about 45 minutes long, but we had to watch it in between phone calls. So it took several hours to finish watching it. And then we watched episode 2 yesterday the same way on Thursday. No, we started on Tuesday. And then Thursday we did the same. Wednesday that we did the same thing. Today is Thursday the 24th of September. We went to our psychiatrist appointment this morning. And yeah, our day was full of appointments and errands, and we took a nap. And we had another appointment and family time and everything. So by the time we watched it, it was way late. Everybody had gone to bed, and we were we were typing on Jane's Facebook page about how much we really love and relate to her documentary. I don't know why it's not more popular than it is. So if you happen to be watching this and you want to go spend $14 or whatever on Amazon Prime or wherever you can find it, support that lady. Sheesh. I mean, everyone's d.i.d. experience is going to be different, right? So I'm not fake claiming or anything, of course, right? What I notice things that are about her system that are different than mine, that doesn't make hers invalid. She's totally valid to have her experiences, and I'm valid to have mine. I think one of the things that I thought was kind of, oh, okay, is it almost feels like Jane is the original one and everybody else is just an extra part, right? But everybody else in the communities that I've talked to anyway seems to be with the understanding that there is no original part. Everybody is valid. Everybody has the body. Everybody shares the body equally. But even our system has a hard time acknowledging that sometimes. Sometimes we call them my alters. Sometimes we call them, yeah, my noodle, you know, or my, I don't know, my body. I don't know what we say. Anyways, okay, so let me talk about the episodes real quick. And if you haven't watched any of these, I'm not trying to give you spoilers, so click off if you haven't seen it and you want to see it. But if you have seen it, or maybe you're just wanting to know what it's about, I won't be specifically detailed, of course, but I do want to at least share what came up for us. So episode 1, it really just talked about kind of a general overview, motherhood, and, you know, I think it talked about relationships in the first one, and it talked about now I'm blanking. Hold on. I feel like you're just telling me about it right now. I don't feel like I have actual memories of watching it. I may have popped in and out and seen a couple parts, but I have no idea what you're talking about. We watched episode 2? Why don't I remember this? Oh, yeah, now we remember. Okay, so episode 1 was just a recap or like an overview, and I think it's well edited. It's well written. It's written, I don't know, like well put together is really what it is, because you could tell they're filmed on different days and different things are sliced together, and the way they put it together just to give you a good story and give you a good context, you know. And then she's just so brave to just talk about it, and then the people she can get to agree to come onto camera and talk about, even though all her parts aren't talking very fondly about them. Like, she talked about a boyfriend, an ex-boyfriend, and an ex-girlfriend, and her mom and stuff, you know. And it's like, wow. Then, episode 2 was about her mom, which I thought was funny that I completely dissociated from that memory, because the one that holds the mom trauma. Oh, didn't want us to remember that we watched it, I guess. I don't know. It was hiding. But anyways, okay, so the mom relationship that she has, very similar to ours, won't acknowledge her part in our trauma. Wants to be a part of her life, wants to be friends, wants to be, mother-daughter relationship, but we've got she calls them parts, I call them noodles. We've got noodles that don't want mom. We don't want to have to pretend to be somebody that mom is okay with. Does that make sense? Like, if we're not feeling okay, will mom accept us? Or will she? Two different things come up for us. Will she hold us responsible for not feeling okay? Like, if she... Oh my gosh, I'm not saying this right. Two things come up. Will mom get triggered and upset because we're upset with her, and therefore throw a guilt trip, make us feel bad for having feelings, and therefore now we're shamed for having feelings? I mean, just take just a small little example. We're not weaponizing our feelings, but we almost feel like we have to hide them from mom so she doesn't weaponize hers. Small example. If I go to her house, for example, I keep saying for example, if I go to her house and she's got the music playing and it's upbeat and catchy tunes and whatever, and she's dancing and she's just in a good mood, and that's just really typical for her. I mean, I've talked about mom before. She's got a toxic positivity about her that I don't think she recognizes is a thing, because even we didn't recognize it was a thing until recently. And it just makes so much more sense now why we have such a hard time around mom. But basically, if I go to her house and she's got the upbeat music playing, and if she starts to dance and she's starting in a good mood and she's, being all her cutesy cute self and everything, and she tries to rope us into dancing with her, and we ain't feeling it, we ain't wanting to feel it, we aren't about to start feeling it, we might do or say something like, no, I'm just not feeling it, or something like that. And then we'll sit in the chair and she'll take it as sulking or moping around or thinking negative thoughts, or she'll try to cheer us up, she'll try to push us out of it, or she'll get triggered entirely. So we either way, we were not allowed as kids, as teenagers, as adults, to have feelings unless they were happy, joyful feelings. So yeah, that's our mom story. And that's not the only mom story we have. That's just one of them. I don't know if I'll post this. That's probably too much to share. Anyway, episode 3 was about her teenage part that likes to get tattoos, likes to drink, likes to flirt, likes to just have a good time, and sometimes will do things without Jane's knowledge and sabotage the system. And we don't have one that strong. Magenta has fronted a few times, and she is very much like Jane's Alexis. But Magenta has learned system responsibility and respect for the system long ago, long before we knew we were a system, because I think we got a lot of fear noodles that won't let Magenta front. But Magenta can be very sneaky, and she'll sabotage in other ways. Anyways, I'm just rambling, I guess. Just trying to wrap my head around what I've watched so far, and I really do appreciate being able to identify with something more. It's very validating. And we aren't going to binge watch and watch them all in one night. We want to sip this tea slowly. We want to enjoy it. So we don't want to cram it all in our head. We would like to process it and dive into it and soak in it for several hours before we watch the next one. So I am excited to keep you updated. And then recap on our feelings about the psychiatric visit. Well, we do really feel gypped. Overall, we feel gypped. When we play the majority rules thing, I don't think I told you that. Majority rules is a game we just realized we do. We didn't realize we were doing this. It's not really a game. It's more like a voting system. So our voting system, for the noodle system, is when we're feeling tension or anxiety or stress or depression, or when something's upsetting somebody in the system and we want to get better, we want to feel better, we want to help that one speak their truth so they can start to heal, so they can start to process, so they can feel less alone or feel less isolated, or even just have less drama with whatever's going on, right? We've been doing this for several weeks now. I don't know, maybe a couple months now. I have no idea. Time is so weird right now. But anyways, in our journal, we write everybody's color, because we write everybody's color in their order, and basically that's based in an analogy sort of way. That's like asking everybody in town hall to walk up to the podium, and everybody's going to take a turn in line speaking at the podium. So if you're speaking at the podium, telling us how you're feeling about something, and yeah, I'm going to read that to you actually. Hold on. Yeah, this video is getting long, so I will do this and then we're going to stop it for the night, because I got to go to bed anyway. Alright, so we asked the system this morning while we were waiting in the lobby. We asked them, how are you feeling? And so we had a heck of a time. Let me see if I can show you a picture. Right over there. Do you see that map? Do you see all those lines? We got lost on the freeway going out to their office. And yeah, that was stressful, but we had left early enough, so we weren't very stressed at all about it. Hardly at all. Maybe at a 4 out of 10. We were so okay with how lost we were because we were still making good time. We finally found our way there. We pull up to the parking lot, and even that was, Google doesn't know how to pinpoint correctly. So then we finally get out of the car, and on our way up to the door, we have our cane that we're using to walk. We have our journals that we said we were going to bring, the rainbow one and the llama on the bicycle one. Had our keys and had our wallet. And so we're hobbling to the front of the door. You like my hobble walk? And I'm looking at the door, trying to figure out how I'm going to open the door. And as soon as I thought those thoughts, how am I going to open that door? As soon as I said that, the door swings open gently, and a beautiful woman starts to walk out with a beautiful polka dot 50 Billy's dress, whatever you call it. Looked like an I Love Lucy dress, very polka dotty. And she had long brown hair, very pretty eyes, and she had her mask on. And she had her hands full too. So she's walking out with her hands full. I'm walking in with my hands full. And I exchange pleasantries behind my mask. And I say, "Oh, thank you. Your hands are full too, huh?" And she goes, "Ha, yeah." So she opens the door wide enough so that I can go in, and then she leaves. And she goes to her car or whatever she was doing. She was gathering stuff, right? We do the insurance thing. We do the paperwork thing. We do the driver's license thing. We do the, okay, here's your copay thing. And then they ask us to sit down. And while we're sitting down, we're noticing our stomach is in knots. We're noticing the heart is racing. We're noticing the little tightness in the chest. We're having all these little signs of distress. But our mind feels okay. Our mind feels, we got this. This is exciting. We're happy. We're okay. So we're not really sure what's going on. Who's feeling it in the stomach? Who's feeling it in the chest? Who's feeling it in the heart? This is interesting. I'm just saying it out loud. But I'm curious. If we've got 3 things going on here, I wonder if there's 3 noodles that are not okay. And I haven't read this since I wrote it down this morning, and I barely remember writing down anything this morning. I just know we did. So I'm going to read it real quick. Wow, this is so long. Okay. Oh, it's going to cut me off. Well, let's hurry and do this then, okay? Because I got just a few minutes before it cuts me off. So we wrote down, how are you feeling? Maroon says, we feel accepted. We're good. Red says, we feel unprepared. We have anxiety. That's 1. That's a thumbs down. Peach says, we are proud of ourselves. Yay, self-care. Orange says, let's try to keep an open mind. Gold says, we think we're doing pretty good. Yellow says, we are hopeful. We are excited, right? Lime says, it's not all his fault. We're lucky to have him. We're referring to Jim, the husband. Green says, let's make sure they don't push us, okay? We were nervous about medication. I remember that. Mint says, we are ready as we'll ever be. Till says, we've come a long way for this. Yay. Cyan says, I think we're losing it. Are we crazy? So that's a third one. Indigo says, we've got this. We're good. Purple says, I'm going to play some music in the headspace. And he did. There was music playing in our mind. We could hear it. And then Lilac says, she seems nice. This might work. Oh, that's because as soon as we were writing, the same woman with the polka dot came back in and everything. And she goes, Crystal? And I go, yeah. She goes, my name's Lauren. I'll be seeing you in a few minutes. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I wrote down, she seems nice. This might work. And then we need to make sure we mention husband, and that's magenta. Pink and black and white did not have anything to say, and I think it's because they're in the boot. I love the way Jess from Multiplicity and Me says that. In the boot. And so even though we say trunk here in the States, I like to repeat what Jess says and say in the boot. So anyways, yeah, that is actually 3 noodles that were not feeling very good. So that's very interesting that there was 3 things going on with me in the body, even though the mind felt okay. So we went with majority rules. That's basically what we're trying to say. Majority rules. Okay, so now we're using Facebook Messenger since we ran out of space on our phone to say a goodbye, and we had to use this filter. It's just too funny not to share. Ah! Bye, guys. Talk to you later. Yeah, I've ran out of space, and I don't feel like taking everything off the camera right now, so we're going to end it here. All we know is that we really feel like P4 screwed us over. We spent a lot of money and hardly got anything out of it in comparison to what they could have done for their people that paid. And we also felt like Deidre kind of screwed us over. But at least she also told us ahead of time before taking any money from us. So